Hi everyone. In the last lecture we have covered dictionary in Python. By completing that we have covered basic of Python. Now it's time to jump to the intermediate Python. So in this video we are going to learn about functions, what are functions in Python, how to create them, how to use them, and what are the advantage of using function in Python. And at the last of this video I am going to give you two tasks which you have to complete, which will make sure you that you have learned something productive in this video. So without doing further delay, let's get into this. So guys, here I am in PyCharm and I have already created a file L12.py. So because this is a lecture 12 and I am going to write here lecture 12. And now guys, first of all, let's understand what is function in a Python. So guys, function is nothing, just it is a name of some set of codes. Let's say you have write some line of codes and you want to use again that same codes in your program and you don't know where you need that. So what you can do, you can create a function, and basically in function you are defining that set of codes with a name, and whenever you need that code in your program, just you have to call that function with a name and it will serve your purpose. I know this sound is a little bit confusing, but believe me guys, once you know how to create a function, how to define that, how to call them, then you will have a clear idea what actually function in a Python. So let's move to how to create a function in a Python. So guys, first of all we are going to see a syntax how to create a function. So syntax would be, you have to write first of all a keyword def, which means that you are defining your function here, and after that you have to write your function name, and after that you have to give a parenthesis. Inside of that parenthesis it is optional to give an argument. If you want to make a function without argument, it is also acceptable. So but here you can give also an argument, it is optional, and after that put a column, and here it is your body. How many line of code do you want to write in this function? It's up to you, and that line you may write in this body. And at the last of this function you can write a return statement. It is also an option like an argument, but by default it's going to return none. Remember that. So alright guys, this is the basic syntax of function and how to use that syntax. So we are going to see how we can create a function by using this syntax, and let me comment all these things. So now guys, I'm going to define a function here. I will use my def keyword. After that the function name I want to keep is fun, and here in the parentheses first of all I'm going to show you without argument, and I just put a colon, and inside of body I'm going to write a statement print this is a function with name fun and have no argument. Alright guys, so now we have defined a one function with the name fun, and now guys, so it's not going to impact in your code. Now if I run this code, you can see that I got nothing, because this is a function. Until we will not call it, it's not going to execute it. So how we can execute that function? We need to call it, and for calling that function I have to use my function name, which I declared in fun, and if I haven't given any argument, so I have to also pass a empty parenthesis. And if I do this and if I run this now, you can see that this body has been executed. It's saying that this is a function with name fun and have no argument. So this is basically a function with no argument. Let me write here function without argument. So guys, now let's create another function with an argument. How to create a function without argument? Let's see that. I'm going to write a function with argument, and now I am going to write my function name is fun with argument. Alright, and inside of this parenthesis I'm going to pass one argument, which is name. Alright, now in the body section I'm going to write two statements. Print this is a function with name fun with argument and have one argument. Alright, and here I have to pass proper name because I want to make it a little bit sensible. Now guys, in the second line I'm going to pass my name. Name is, and I believe this much is clear because we have already seen in our last videos that how to use a print statement, variables, everything. Alright guys, now I'm going to call this function, and how to call them? We have to pass again with the name of that function, and I have declared fun with the argument. So I'm going to write that function, And now inside of this parenthesis I can't keep it empty because we have defined one argument also. So I have to pass here one argument, and the argument is name. So I'm going to pass a name is code rep. Alright, so now let me comment this line fun, because I'm not going to execute this function. I'm going to execute only this function now. So if I run this code, and you guys can see that this is a function with name, fun with argument, and have one argument. Alright, and name is code rep. So we pass an argument here which is name, and it took all this data into name variable, and after that I just print that data. That's it. So this is how you can create a function with argument. And guys, here you can create a number of arguments. Here you can use another argument age, then location, and number of argument you can pass here. I hope this much is clear to you. And now guys, let's see how to use a return statement in a function. So let me comment this line because we are not going to call it again. Now guys, how to use a return statement? For that I am going to create a new function, define, and the function name I am going to give is add, and it will going to add two number a and b. Alright, I have passed two arguments, remember here. And now what I want to add this two number. So I will use my arithmetic operator a plus b, and I will store that addition in new variable which is c. Alright, so I have done this thing. Now what I did, I just add this two number and store that data in c. Okay, now I can use a return keyword, return, and I can return my c variable which is storing the sum of these two number. So we have created a new function which is add, and that is going to return us the sum of these two arguments. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this function, but for that I need to pass two arguments. So let's take two arguments from the user. Now we have learned so far how to take input also. So I'm going to take two number from the user. So I will say the first number int input, enter first number, and second int input, enter second number. Alright, now we have two numbers so far. Now we have to pass these two number into our add function, and which is going to return the sum of these two number. So I'm going to call my function, and we can call that function by writing function name, and inside of parentheses we have to give argument, and here we have passed two arguments, so we have to pass a two argument as well. So I'm going to pass a is first and b is my second. Alright, now our a is going to store first and b is going to store second. And guys, now it is going to return something which is c, the sum of these two numbers. So if this function is going to return something, so we have to store in some variable. So I can say that my sum is a variable which is going to store whatever the function is returning, and at last I'm going to print that sum. Print sum is sum. Now if I run this code, enter first number, I'm going to enter first number is 20, enter second number, and second number I'm going to return is 10, and you guys can see that the sum is 30, and which is true, 20 plus 10 is 30. So now guys, I hope this much is clear to you. How does it work? We just pass two arguments, first and second. First is storing 20 because we passed 20, and second storing 10. Now in the function, A is going to take first data, B is going to take the second data, and after that we just add, after that we just return the sum of these two number. Alright, so that's how we can define a function, and we can use a return statement in function. So guys, it is not necessary that you can return only one, you can return n number of data from a function by just putting a comma. Here you can also return hello, here you can also return something in float. So you can return n number of variables in the return statements. So it's up to you how you can use them. So I hope this much is clear to you how to use a return statement in function. So guys, now let's see what are the different ways to pass an argument while calling the function. Different ways to use argument while calling the function. Alright, so guys, the first way is positional argument, and we have already seen this type of argument here. We just passed our first data into A and the second data into B. Means like just whatever the order you have passed, that order you are going to pass your data. A is going to take your first whatever you have passed here, B is going to take at second position whatever you passed here. So if you are passing here C, then you have to pass for C here data anything. So C is going to take that data. So this is a positional data. You are passing the data according to the position. Alright guys, I hope this much is clear to you. But the second way is keyword argument. Now guys, this is a different. Let's see how we can pass a keyword argument in this function only. So I'm going to copy this function again, and I'm going to write here. Let me comment this one. So guys, the keyword argument means we are explicitly defining that whatever the variable of this function going to take which data. So here we know that we have used a and b argument while defining this function. So we are going to tell, while calling this function, we are going to tell that a is going to take my first data and b is going to take my second data. And if I run this code, alright, so let me comment this too. Now if I run this code again, the first number I'm going to enter, first number is 10, and the second number I'm going to enter is 20. So it's going to return sum is 30. But here we have tell that a is going to take the first data and b is going to take second data. So for making it little clear, let me write here print what is the data of a and print what is data of b. In this function we have. So if I run this code now, you guys can see that if I pass first 20 and in second I pass 40, so it's saying that a is taking 20 and b is taking 40. Fine. And what if I do here, a is going to take second and b is going to take first. So if I do this thing, and if here first I pass 50 and second I pass 20, so it's going to say that a is taking 20, not 50, because we have passed a is going to take now second and b is taking now 50. So that much I hope clear to you. And we, in the keyword argument, the additional benefit is that you can pass in any order. First you can pass b is going to take first, and a is going to take second. Means like here you have defined a at first place, but in keyword argument you can pass your data b as a first and a at a last. It's not mandatory you have to pass a at a first only. If I run this code, if I write here 10 and here I write here 15, so you guys can see that a is taking now 15 and b is taking 10, and it's successfully giving us output as well 25. So now a is going to take our data second, and which is 15, and b is going to take our data first, which is 10. So I hope this much is little bit confusing, but if you are not getting an idea that how does it working, you can write your query in the comment section. I will definitely see there. Alright guys. So for now I am going to keep it a default. A is going to take first and b is going to take second. So that's all. Now let's see the third type, and which is default argument. Alright, so we are going to see default argument in this function only. So let me copy this one, let me paste here, and let me comment this statement as well as this one. Okay, so now guys, default argument means you are passing here actual data, but what if user not pass here any data? Let's say I am commenting all this data. So let's say user write here nothing in this parenthesis, but it has defined in a function that it must take 2 argument, but it is not passing that argument. So if I run this code now, so you guys can see that first of all it will take 2 input, 20, and I am going to pass here 15, but here you can see that it's saying that missing 2 require positional argument. Remember, positional argument is going to take. So we haven't passed any argument, so definitely we are going to get an error. So now what we can do, that we can avoid that by using a default argument. We can say that a is going to take 50 if we are not passing any value while calling the function, and b is going to take 25 if we are not passing the value b also while calling this function. Now if I run this code, if I give again same input 20 and 15, now you guys can see that it's run successfully and saying that a is going to take 50, which is default value, and b is going to take 25, and the sum is 75. Fine. So we didn't get any error because we have used a default argument. And guys, here's one trick: you should keep default argument at a last. So guys, if I don't give any default argument in B, and here if I pass here one argument 10, but still I will get one error. You can see that here it's saying that it is mandatory you have to pass a default argument because the earlier argument is having a default value. So guys, how we can avoid that? We can pass default argument at last. So I'm going to put A at last position and B at a front position. So what I'm going to say that now, the default argument for A is 50, but you have to specify argument for B. So I am specifying 10 for B and A is going to take 50. And if I run this code now, if here pass 5 and 4, you guys can see that the default argument is 50 and B is taking 10. It's not going to take this value because we are not passing the first and second variable in function. So don't worry about that. But guys, if you pass your first and second variable, here I am passing first and second, and if I run this code, if I enter here the value for first is 6 and for second is 9, and you guys can see that this value is overwritten. Now A is not storing 50, A is storing the second data, which is 9. So I hope this much is clear to you, how to use a default argument when you are not sure that whether you are calling the function with argument or not. That time you can use a default argument to avoid the error. So now let's see the last type of argument, which is variable length argument. Variable length argument. So variable length argument is totally different from all of these. It is basically when you are not sure that how many number of arguments you are going to pass in the function. So that time you can use a variable length argument, and remember here you have to use always asterisk to specify that you are going to pass n number of arguments. So let's create a function, different function from that. So I'm going to comment this one, and I'm going to create a new function which is going to return addition only, but n number of data. So we are not sure that how many data we are going to take here. So I'm going to use an asterisk, and after that I'm going to pass here my variable, which is data. Let's say it is data. I'm going to put a colon, and here I'm going to write in my body. So, but remember guys, now this data is not a variable, it is tuple because we have put an asterisk before this data. So now it is acting like an tuple. It may store n number of data inside this tuple. Alright. So in the body, I'm going to use an inbuilt function which is sum, and I'm going to store the sum in C variable again, and I will say sum of data. What it will do? It will calculate the sum of all the variables which will be present in this data tuple. And at last I'm going to return that C, which is our sum. So now guys, let's call this function. I'm going to call this function. Okay, now inside the parenthesis, first of all I'm going to pass a single data 5, and this will going to return something. So instead of storing the sum, I'm going to directly print that sum, and in the next time I'm going to use that function, and inside of that function I'm going to pass two data now, 2 and 5. And the third time I'm going to pass 4 data, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so now let's comment this line and run this code. And guys, you can see that the first time I got output 5 because we have already one data, so it return a sum is 5 only. Next time we pass 2 data, instead of giving error, it printed 7 because we are using a data which is now acting as a tuple because we have put a asterisk in front of it. So now it printed the sum of these two number, and after that we got output 22, which is the sum of this 4 number. To make you clear that what the data tuple is having right now, so let me print the data here. And if I run this code now, and you guys can see that the first time my tuple is having only 5, second time my tuple is having 2, 5, and the third time my tuple is having 4, 5, 6, 7. So I hope this much is clear to you how to use a default argument, keyword argument, positional argument, as well as variable length argument. So if you still have any kind of doubt, you can ask in the comment section. I'm always there to help you. So now guys, it's time to give you some tasks to make sure that you have learned something productive in this video. So guys, let's write here tasks. The first task is you have to write a function. That function should return the maximum value out of 3 number. So write a function which should return the maximum value out of 3 number. Alright. So you have to pass 3 number to the function, and so that function should return the maximum number out of these 3 number. So let me write a number. Alright. So now the second task is you have to make a function. That function going to take n number of argument, and all the arguments should be in integer, and at last you have to return the multiplication of all the arguments. Write a function that take an argument, an integer argument, and return multiplication of all these arguments. So these are 2 tasks you have to do after watching this video, and if you are able to do all these 2 tasks, then write in the comment section that I have done these 2 tasks. That's all in this video, guys. If you like this video, give a thumbs up to this video and subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video. Thank you.